Welcome to the Hillis Public Adjusters Podcast. I'm your host, Deetra, and joining me today is Bob Hillis, the owner and founder of Hillis Public Adjusters. Hillis has been an established presence throughout the tri-state area and beyond with a new office in North Carolina. We're here today to educate, empower, and maybe even entertain you a little bit along the way. So we're going to go ahead and dive in. I have here Bob Hillis. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. I want to ask you a couple of questions and just learn a little bit about your history as a public adjuster.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So you started Hillis Public Adjusters about 40 years ago, correct?
42 years.
42 years. Wow. Why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself, a brief bio? You don't have to get too much into like public adjusting or anything like that, but just tell us who you are.
Currently, okay, I am married for 40 years and actually will be 41 years this June. I have 4 children, 4 girls, and we live in Bucks County and have 5 grandchildren now, which is awesome.
That is awesome. Wow. So you, I know, are semi-retired from public adjusting.
Semi-retired.
Semi-retired.
I'm still working.
Still, yes. I know. Semi. We don't want to say fully retired because I know
It's hard to stop. It's hard to go cold turkey and just stop working. I really enjoy what I do also.
Well, you have a lot of energy and a lot of life in you, so I can understand that.
Yes.
So I do want to start with just the basics because a lot of people don't know what public adjusters are. I know before I started working for Hillis, I really had no idea what public adjusting was. So for those that may not have any clue, can you tell us what a public adjuster is and maybe how it's a little bit different than an insurance adjuster?
Absolutely. It is interesting that most people really don't even realize that public adjusters exist still to this day. When you have an insurance claim for property damage, people call their insurance company, and the insurance company then sends out one of their adjusters that works for them to investigate the claim, write up an estimate, and pay you or deny your coverage or explain the coverage issues to you. What a public adjuster does is we interpret policies and we know the language of the policy, we know the laws of insurance, and we would meet with that insurance company adjuster from the insurance company, and we would present the loss, and we would negotiate a settlement. And most times it's much larger than the homeowner or business owner would have gotten on their own.
Okay. So I know I talk to a lot of people when they first call into Hillis, and I will say, we're not lawyers, but if you wanted to think of us in a certain way, is we are kind of like your lawyer. We're representing you in that negotiation with the insurance company. Do you think that would be a fair assessment?
I agree. Lawyers handle personal injury cases when someone has a slip and fall or car accident, and we are not lawyers, and we do not claim to be lawyers. We are only licensed public adjusters. And lawyers actually use us and our services to help them with their property damage claims. We're only able to handle claims for buildings, commercial, residential, industrial. We are allowed to handle claims for airplanes and boats, not auto.
I had no idea. Airplanes?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We've done several of them over the years.
That's pretty cool. I know I've dealt with a boat claim, but I've never had an airplane claim. I hope someday, maybe. So was it the actual airplane or an airplane hit someone's home?
Actually, that did happen years ago, and we handled the claim for the home and also the airplane because the airplane was damaged, obviously.
Wow. So Hillis is doing pretty cool things.
Yeah, we've done spoilage claims for crops and farms. So it's a wide variety of claims that we can handle.
And so we did say, you've been doing this now for 42 years. When you started Hillis, were you doing something before, or did you start out and decide, like, when you started working, I want to do public adjusting?
Well, actually, I had a claim at my own house, and at the time I was not married, and the girl I was dating, her mother had a store right next to a public adjuster, his company. So when I told her about what happened to my pool, that some kids came in and vandalized the pool, they had a party. It was an above ground swimming pool. She said, you have to call a public adjuster. And just like everybody else would say, I was like, what is a public adjuster? What does he do? So the public adjuster came to my house and educated me a little bit that I could now put a claim into my own homeowner's insurance. He would handle it for me and negotiate for me. And it was a rude awakening for me because I had no idea that that even existed. I was involved in politics at the time, and at that time I was also in sales in the jewelry industry, believe it or not.
Oh.
I had sold for a construction company, and I have construction background, but at that time I was selling jewelry, and the owner of the company, the public adjuster, hit it off, and he actually offered me a job that day. And I told him no, I was very happy with what I was doing, but I said I would refer him if I ever came across this problem. So over the years, I started referring him. And the next thing you know, everybody I talked to had something go wrong in their house, a hot water heater break, a roof leak.
Mm-hmm.
And I started referring him the business, and I just got a little bit more involved and started learning more about it. And I really enjoyed the fact that I was able to help people. When you're selling jewelry or diamonds, especially, to a guy who doesn't want to spend a lot of money and the girl who wants a diamond engagement ring. So it's a little bit different. And with public adjusting, you're just able to help so many people. And with the knowledge that I've learned over these years, it's pretty amazing how we can turn a claim around or expand on the claim and get so much more money for them.
So it was just a natural progression from having a claim yourself, learning more about it, and then you decided, hey, I think I want to do this. So you got your license.
I did. I had I had my wife go to the library and get all the books on insurance law, adjusting, property and casualty. And I set up a card table in my family room, and I had stacks of books, and I just read through the books and tried to learn as much as I could, and I took the test and passed and started my own company.
So you didn't go to work for him. You just immediately were like, I'm doing this on my own.
Well, I actually did go to work for him.
Okay.
And he had a decent sized company. And at one point, some of the employees decided to go out on their own, and they left the company. It was a big coup. And I was pretty loyal, and I wanted to stay with him. But it was a little difficult. He was very upset about what had happened, and I just figured it might be better to leave at that point. I didn't know what to do at that point. I didn't know whether to start a jewelry business, start a construction company, or be a public adjuster. So I became a public adjuster, and the rest is history.
Hillis Public Adjusters.
Yes, my wife and I started it.
That's amazing. I know Laura, I spoke with Laura a little bit, and she shared it started in the basement of your home at the time, and it was you and your wife working through the phone book. What were you doing in the phone book? Looking for connections or?
No, looking up the phone numbers for the insurance companies. State Farm's 1-800 number, Allstate. We were going through the phone book to try and find their phone numbers and then call a claim in. It was crazy. Actually, we started in the back bedroom of our house.
Wow.
Then we moved down into the basement.
You needed more space.
Much more space. And then we actually got so busy, I had to hire more people, and I went to my attorney, and I actually used his paralegals. They would come after work, and they'd work from 5:30 till 11 at night. And after they left, my wife and I stayed in the basement and worked until 2 or 3 in the morning to catch up. But it was rough because thank God we got so busy, but I was afraid we could lose the business being that busy unless we took care of our clients.
Yeah.
And we did. We got past that point.
I'm not going to lie, this is so fun to me, getting the lore of the company and finding out the history. I think it's pretty amazing what you've been able to build in this time period, and just like from the start in a back bedroom to now you have this huge building and a number of employees working for you, and it's throughout the United States that you have people licensed. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, it's hard work.
So when you started, what was something you didn't expect about being a public adjuster?
Well,
or something that
I could
took you by surprise?
I can actually tell you this one story. When we were in the bedroom looking up all the phone numbers and calling it in, we notified 33 claims in one day, which was pretty amazing, just my wife and I. And what I didn't realize was that 33 adjusters from different insurance companies were going to be calling me and wanting to schedule an appointment.
Oh, wow.
That was tough. So I had to go out. I was the only adjuster, so I had to meet with them and present the losses and negotiate those claims. It got busy real quick.
As somebody who works for the company now in this current phase of its development and growth, I can say that's insane to me that between you and Karen, you are handling every step of the process because there's so many things that go into each claim.
You're right. There are. Yeah, it was pretty amazing that we were able to do that, but it was just something that I guess, what do they say? Necessity is the mother of invention, and I needed to do something. We needed to work, and we just did, and we have not stopped since.
So, in public adjusting and doing this kind of work, where does your passion lie in it, or what motivates you or inspires you to keep going?
The win. It's the win. It's negotiating with the insurance company, interpreting the insurance policy language, and being able to get people money for a claim that was very ambiguous and very gray, or be able to get them so much more money than what they had ever anticipated they would get.
So what's your power move in negotiation?
My power move?
Uh-huh.
Actually, I present the claim as the best of my ability, and I'm very observant, and I can see the entire claim at one time. I can see the vision. I don't walk into a room where there's some damage and I'm just focused on that. I see, where did the water travel? Where else could it have affected? And I go into the different rooms to inspect them and see. And sure enough, water does travel pretty far. And now, next thing, besides just having one room that was damaged, now you have maybe 5 rooms or 6 rooms that are damaged. And I think it's just the negotiations. It's sort of like an intangible thing to sell public adjusting to a client, because they have to just believe in us. And there's nothing that they can see, nothing that we can just prove we're going to get more money. And then when they do believe in us, my goal is to negotiate with the insurance adjuster to maximize that settlement, to prove that, yes, you did need us and we were worth representing you.
So you did touch on something that I want to talk about a little bit. With your customers or clients that come to you, I know we don't do a lot of advertising. There's not commercials that you see for Hillis. How were you able to build your client base and have people that I know? I get calls every day. I worked with Bob about 20 years ago, and they still keep coming back.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know what it is. I don't know what that secret formula is, other than everywhere I go, I discuss public adjusting. I tell people what we do and what we can do. And I think that people see in me the sincerity that I have, and I'm not in it for the money. Obviously, the money comes, but if you have the win, the money follows. And people are extremely satisfied. I mean, we don't get the first offer and take it and settle a claim. We then renegotiate and keep getting revised estimates from insurance companies. And it was just something that I felt, I tried to handle every claim as if it was my own claim at my own home or my own business. And I think by doing that, I even was able to instill that in all of our employees and our adjusters that we have, because it's not easy to keep fighting. It's really easy to just take the first offer and settle a claim. And I think a lot of public adjusters do that, but we don't. We build up a reputation within the industry that if we didn't settle the claim for the right amount of money, we would either continue to pursue it, or we would put the claim into litigation. We would put the claim into what's called an appraisal process. And the insurance companies learned that if they didn't settle with us, that we would continue to push.
And keep fighting.
And it paid off over the years. And I think that our clients understand that. And right now, I would say 98% of our business comes from word of mouth or referrals or repeat business from our clients.
Yeah, I think that's amazing to have such an excellent reputation in the community that I know, again, it's people calling and somebody referred them because they used our services and they were so happy with what Hillis was able to do for them. So knowing the success that you've had, and I know you mentioned liking the win, what's the biggest win that you can point to in your career for a client?
The biggest win. There's literally hundreds, probably, if not 1,000.
Well, excuse me.
But there are some that are just fantastic. A claim that has been completely denied, and the person calls us up, asks us if we can help, and we do get involved. I like taking on, sometimes I shouldn't, but I do like taking on problems and trying to troubleshoot them and get to the bottom of it and figure it out. And we've turned the claim around and settled the claim for over $50,000 on a complete denial. But that's happened over and over again as well. And there's times that insurance companies have offered less than $10,000, and we've wound up settling claims for hundreds of thousands of dollars for the same claim. So I think it's the perseverance that we have and the expertise of the detail, all the details. We look at all the details, want to make sure that we're not missing anything. And I think that's key. People appreciate that.
I agree. I think that's amazing. Like to go from $0 to $50,000 or $10,000 to hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It is. It even amazes me at times that we are able to get the money that we can get, but we just keep pushing for it, and it's there. I've lived by these words: if you never know, so if you don't ask, you don't get it. You don't know, and that's what we do. We just keep pushing.
You have to shoot your shot.
Absolutely, yes. And fortunately, it's worked. A lot of our clients have given us very good reviews, or they just say that if Hillis can't get you the money, nobody can, and that's a great recommendation from somebody. We have stories that I just ran into somebody. I was at a house the other day, and a contractor from across the street walked over to me and said, "Are you Bob Hillis?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I used your services 25 or 30 years ago and remembered us." And that's great. I want people to remember our name. I want people to remember our service and remember the settlements that we've gotten them. We just recently had a very large multi-million-dollar explosion claim in Youngstown, Ohio. And the referral was a client that I handled a claim for in 2005 during Hurricane Wilma.
Wow.
So 20 years later, he referred a friend of his, and we got that claim. So that's really saying something when people can remember you for 20 years.
Yeah, and then have something happen and be like, I know someone.
I know the guy to call, yes.
Bob. Call Bob Hillis.
Well, now we have a lot of adjusters that are very, very good.
Yes. So speaking on that, what do you think is the difference, or what makes a great public adjuster versus just a good public adjuster?
Boy, that's a great question. I think passion is the most important thing. You've got to believe in what you do. You got to sincerely believe it with all your heart and soul, and present it to the insurance company in a way that they know that it's going to be a covered claim and there's not much they can do to try to deny it. I just think that attention to detail also helps. But I would say passion is the biggest part.
So, in building your team and building the company, what is something that you have tried to instill within like the DNA of a Hillis employee?
I would like to have a client for life. When we represent a client, I want that client to be so happy that they're never going to forget us and they're going to call us for everything. Think people call us for all kinds of things that aren't covered, but they'll call us, which is great. If people call us and say they had a car accident, we say, okay, this is what you should do. You should call an attorney, and we recommend them to other people. But I never wanted to not have an answer for a client. So I remember picking up the phone and getting somebody who had the wrong number, called us with the wrong number, and I wound up telling them what we do. Well, you've reached Hillis Public Adjusters, and tell them what we do and that we have a claim.
Wow.
So yeah, it's just being there for the people. And I think that we've been able to instill that in all the employees, and we're like a family, our company. And I believe, well, I can tell you this one thing. A very good friend of mine was a very good salesman, and he used to say, when maybe another public adjuster would go into somebody's house, they become an acquaintance, business associate. But when a Hillis public adjuster comes into the house, they become a friend. But when Bob Hillis and his guys come in, they become family. And that explains it all, I think.
Wow, that's beautiful. A little too dramatic. So for clients, what would you say for homeowners? What is the first thing they should do or think about if they think they might have a claim?
Call us first, because the insurance companies are recording every conversation, and so many homeowners may call in and just say, for example, my toilet backed up. And backups are specifically excluded in most policies. So it's really not a backup. Or people will call and say, my house is flooded. And it's not a flood, it's water damage. So it depends on what you say. If the toilet overflowed, that's a claim. If the toilet backed up, they could actually say it's not a claim and deny the coverage. So you just have to be careful with the words that you use. You wouldn't go into court without an attorney representing you. You shouldn't be handling a claim for homeowners or business owners without a public adjuster helping you.
That's something we actually spoke about a little bit in a prior session, and just how important it is, the language that's used when communicating to the insurance company. And the backup came up, and then also the floods. Can you think of any other examples of ways that a homeowner might wind up getting into a little bit of trouble when communicating with the insurance company?
Yes. There's a lot of different ways. An insurance company may just want to be getting questions answered, and they may say, well, if your roof is leaking, let's say, they say, well, does it happen every time it rains? And the homeowner says, I guess so. I don't know, because they really don't know the answer. And that's not really good to have a claim that's been leaking, but they didn't even notice it until this one time. So it's basically that's one time that it's a claim. It wasn't leaking before. If it was hidden. And I think it's just certain words that you use that insurance companies can hang their hat on. I'd like to be able to present the claim properly and with the right language by us handling the claim from the beginning. Too many times people just, and I just had something in my mind, and I've forgotten what it was though. But there are things that people may say that just hurt the claim.
Yeah, I definitely, I always rejoice when I receive a call from somebody who hasn't contacted the insurance company, hasn't done anything yet, and we're the first person they call. I get nervous when we get the calls and they're like, oh, I've already notified the insurance company.
Right.
Because then we have no idea what that conversation was that they had when they called into the insurance company. And like you said, the language that they used could have caused some issues with how the insurance company is interpreting the
Right.
claim.
And it's not about lying. It's the insurance company may ask, we had a client that had water damage in his basement, and the insurance company was just asking him questions. He actually called us, and we were on our way out. And then he thought that he had to call the insurance company to notify it, so he did. And the insurance company asked him questions like, when did you discover it? And he said, well, I just got home. I was away for a couple days, and we have water in the basement. And they said, well, where do you think the water came from? He says, well, I don't know. And they asked if you have Bilco doors, the doors leading out of the basement. And he said, yeah. And he says, well, do you think it could have come from that? And he said, I guess so. But so he didn't know where it was coming from. But by answering a question until he really knew, and when a plumber came out, they found out that it was the condensate line from his air conditioner. So it just puts a doubt in the insurance company's mind. It's not lying. It's just, this is really what happened, and you should find out what the problem is rather than try to guess what the problem is and give them the wrong information.
Good advice. So what are 3 things that you think every homeowner should know about their insurance policy or an insurance claim?
Well, with their insurance policy, every homeowner should make sure that they understand it's not replacement cost. It is reconstruction, the cost of construction. So if you have a house on the ocean and it's an $8 million house, it's not going to cost $8 million to build that house, rebuild that house. If you had a catastrophic loss, you have the land to consider, how much that would be, and then what would the cost be for the square footage of the house. Maybe it's only $4 million. But people don't realize that. Sometimes they get overinsured by insuring the house for $8 million, and they're really paying way too much. They'll never get that money. And other times they try and save money by reducing the amount of money or the limits on their property damage. And that's not good either, because if once you have a claim and you had a catastrophic loss, you're only going to get whatever the limits are of the policy. There are some hidden costs in there and some hidden coverages and endorsements that we know about and we are able to get, but you're very limited to the number that you have. And I think that people should understand that, because there's on the other end of that, or the other spectrum is there's houses that are in neighborhoods that is a low income neighborhood. It's maybe it's a row home, and the house may have sold for $150,000, but to rebuild the house might cost $400,000. I don't think people understand that either. So they think by insuring it for $150,000, it's fine, and it really isn't. It's really underinsured. And the other thing is, most people don't know to get all the endorsements. Like an HO3 policy is an extremely good policy to have, and everything is covered unless it's specifically excluded. Then there's lesser policies, and there's one better policy in HO5. But there's endorsements like backup of sewer and drain line or sump pump endorsement. And people finish their basements. They have a lot of money invested in their basement. They have a water leak in their basement from a broken pipe, and they get $5,000. $10,000, $25,000.
That limit that they
That's
have.
the limit. So it's important. It probably only costs $50 or $60 more a year for that endorsement. So people should understand that. And I would suggest they get guaranteed replacement cost on their contents as well. Usually the contents are 50% of the dwelling. And if you have guaranteed replacement, it's usually around 70% of the dwelling. So it gives you much more money to replace all your contents if they're damaged.
These are some good nuggets that you're dropping here. We're coming a little bit to the close of our time. I'm going to ask you just 2 more questions, and then we will wrap up. You kind of gave some good advice about the policies. What would be the one piece of advice that you would give to somebody that's going through a major loss in their home or property right now?
Call Hillis Public Adjusters. Let us worry about it so that you can get back to your family, back to work, back to your life again. Because there's a lot involved. You have to meet with the insurance adjuster. May have to meet with an engineer or some type of an expert that the insurance company sends out. There's a lot of inspections. It takes a long time to write the estimate and maybe inventory all the contents. So while you're getting your life back in order, we're handling your claim. And that's what we do every day, and we're experts at it. So that's the most important thing, I would think.
You heard it here, people. Call Hillis first. Bob, it's been really awesome talking to you, and I am always just so amazed at the story of how Hillis started and how it's grown and just become what it is, and being a part of that legacy. You're a very successful man.
Thank you.
And I want to ask you, just at the end of the day, what does success look like to you?
Being close to your family.
Mm.
No matter how busy I was always there for my family. I saw every event that my girls were in because I could always work my schedule around it.
Mm.
If I had to work till 4:00 in the morning, I would, but I would be at their concert or whatever it is that they had at 1:00 in the afternoon and then go back to work. But I think family is the most important thing. That's actually my biggest accomplishment, my best accomplishment, not the work, but raising the family. And now with the grandchildren, we're very close and we get together a lot. In fact, my oldest daughter, Laura, and her husband, Jason, are working for the company and vice presidents of the company, and they're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I didn't realize how much Laura knew about the company. She must have learned it through osmosis, just watching me as she was growing up, because she came in and within the first week or so, she was answering questions and phone calls that I was surprised. She really knew a lot about the company and what we do.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And, I did talk to Laura a little bit as
Okay, good.
well. And just hearing about growing up with you and running the business, she definitely, I think, would agree. It's just constantly like part of the fabric of
Yeah,
your life. So
it was.
that's really cool.
Yeah. We're on call 24 hours a day. So
Yeah, that's right, people. If you need
7
help,
days a week.
we are here.
Yes.
So this has been awesome. Hopefully we'll be able to do it again because you have so much knowledge and wisdom that you bring. And I think it's really helpful for people that are dealing with claims, people that are maybe interested in becoming public adjusters, or, just nosy and want to watch a fun podcast.
Yeah, I really would like to get the word out to a lot more people, because it's a shame that they buy insurance. They know they're supposed to have it, but unfortunately they don't use it to its fullest. And we can help them do that. So I'd like to be able to educate the consumer and let them know that we can help.
Yay. Well, we will definitely be back. Thank you so much, Bob.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to the Hillis Public Adjusters podcast. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe, share it with someone who might need it, and stay connected with us for more insights and real stories from the field. And remember, when it comes to your claim, knowledge is power, but having the right advocate makes all the difference. We'll see you next time.